Hi, thanks for joining me today. Today is Thursday, October 29th. We're 5 days out from this natural disaster that's about to happen. There are many topics that I wanted to talk about before this election, and I don't know what happened this year, but I turned around and here we are, right? So today I want to talk about secret Trump voters, who they are, why they exist, and how many of them are there. We've heard a lot about the polls being inaccurate, and there's many reasons that the polls are inaccurate. One of them is just the methodology that they use. They should not be trusted. They don't reflect reality. But one thing that the polls do not reflect are secret Trump voters. Now, these are people that are going to vote for Trump or have voted for Trump, but will not admit to it in public. And there's a pretty good reason why that's the case. Now, I didn't know this term until just yesterday, but this is called preference falsification. And this is misrepresenting one's wants because of social pressure. Okay? So because society has deemed something a certain way, people will not always give you their honest opinion about things. So let's just take the election, let's set it aside for a second. Let's talk about some other examples of preference falsification. So the first example that I might have is the number of gay people in this country. Now, we have estimates as to how many there are, and these estimates vary, because there's no real way to know, because currently there is still, for many people, a social penalty to be paid for being gay. Now, I would argue that the social penalty for being a Trump supporter is higher, but that's neither here nor there. Let's talk about being gay. There are many people that see this as a negative trait. Now, I don't. It makes no difference to me. I'm not a religious person, and I could care less what anyone's sexuality is. It makes no difference whatsoever. I have lived with gay people. I've lived with bisexual people. I don't care. I don't care at all. But there are many people that do, and there is a social price to pay for that. Another example, let's just make it a little lighter, is Nickelback fans, okay? Now, I'm not equating the two. I'm just saying that there's a social price. Nickelback is one of the biggest bands, in the last 2 decades, 3 decades. And they sold, 50 million records or something. Sold out Madison Square Garden. But it's become a bit of a meme to say that they're not very good. Now, I've listened to some Nickelback songs. I didn't listen to them at the time. I wasn't into that style of music, but I've listened to them, and they're pretty good songs. I don't understand why there's all this hate about them. I guess that's for another video. But there is a social price for saying that you're a Nickelback fan. People might be Nickelback fans, and they don't tell other people because they don't want that negative stigma associated with them. There's a social price for paying. Now, of course, if Nickelback came here, they would probably play at the Moda Center where the Trailblazers play, and I'm sure it would be sold out. But none of those people will exist when they go into work on Monday, That's just a thing. This is a preference falsification. Another thing, there are lots of things that we just can't know. We don't know how many people are living in the United States illegally that are not legal citizens. Now, we have a guess. I actually looked into it, and it turns out that the standard prevailing thought on this is from one, nonprofit based on the work of one guy. Our estimate of 11 million undocumented people living in the United States is based on the work of one guy. And if anyone does anything that contradicts this, they pay a huge social penalty for questioning this, which apparently is, law of some kind. But there really hasn't been deep criticism of this 11 million number. In fact, it's been the same for like 20 years. They've just said it's 11 million. And we don't really know, because you can't go out and actually do this survey, right? If you're asking somebody on the street, hey, are you living here illegally? They're not going to say that they do. Okay, that is a preference falsification. Just the last example I'll give you. I live here in Oregon. Marijuana is legal. We got stores all over the place. They're real nice. You can go in, and brightly lit and friendly staff. And the cops just drove by as I mentioned that. But there is a social penalty for admitting that you use marijuana. Now, not all people, of course, but certain people have a prejudice against someone that uses marijuana. So even though I live here in a state that marijuana is legal, there are many people that look down upon users of marijuana. So you can understand that even a survey of people that were asking how many people use marijuana, you're not going to get an accurate answer. You're just not going to get an accurate answer. And that is true with Trump voters. Now, I don't know about you, but I get calls all the time. I probably get half a dozen calls a day from, some scam that's going on. I actually have my phone set to reject all calls that are not in my contact list. And that's made life a little bit easier for me. But I get calls all the time, and I'm sure you do too. We don't know where these calls are coming from. We don't know. And often, people getting calls about phone surveys, they don't actually know that this is a legitimate call or not. This could just be someone trying to get the information. They want to find out who the Trump voters are, and so they've set up a robocall system to call people, and they can get people on a list of Trump voters. I know a lot of people wouldn't want to be on that list. They don't want that social penalty of being a Trump supporter, because in the media, the Trump supporters have been maligned and have been cast out as just these terrible, evil people. Now, I don't think that. I don't think that at all. But that is the prevailing thought of a lot of people in the media, and therefore a lot of people in the public. Well, if you did support Trump and you got a call on the phone and it was a secret survey or a polling company, would you be honest with them? I wouldn't. I wouldn't give up that information at all. I don't know that they're necessarily a polling company. They could be anyone. Now, I know that sounds a bit conspiratorial, but people do think that way. And now you're wondering, is Tom Coffey a secret Trump voter? Good try. Not going to happen. I live in Portland. Now, even if I were a Trump voter, I would never admit to it. However, I will tell you who I'm not going to vote for. I'm not going to vote for Joe Biden. Now, I did vote for Barack Obama twice. I was duped. And that administration started more wars than any president in my lifetime. I'm kind of an anti-war guy myself. And that's a big deal to me. That's an important issue to me. So I can't support that. But maybe I'm voting green. I mean, I was a registered green earlier in my life when I lived in New Mexico. Well, not a big fan of the green candidate. He's a Russiagator, and I can't support that. What about the Libertarian Party? Well, I don't know how they got their candidate, but their candidate doesn't even seem to be libertarian, at least to me. And I don't like supporting someone that calls all people that support a different candidate a racist or something like that. So I can't support the libertarian candidate either. But I could write somebody in. But I would like to know what you think about secret Trump voters. Are there more or less than the media says? Because I believe there's a lot more. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. Have an awesome day. Peace.